You know, having a good education for our children is one of the most important things in our lives. And sometimes they need a little bit of help. Well, Gulf Coast Education Solutions here in Gulfport has just the right program for your child if they need a little something extra. They start them out at preschool and they go up. A lot of great programs, different things and how they work with the children. Matter of fact, we're going to go in and talk to the administrator, Angel Jones, and find out all they have to offer here at Gulf Coast Education Solutions. Angel Jones is the owner at Gulf Coast Education Solutions. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm wonderful. If you would at first, give us a little bit of background about yourself.
I came from public school, special education. That's where I started my career in special ed, and we just kept noticing a lot of things happening where children weren't getting everything they needed. They have amazing services in public school, but sometimes they just need a little bit more. So I had our youngest son, and we decided that I was going to be a stay-at-home mom, and then I determined I'm just not meant to be a stay-at-home mom. I needed to be with kids. I needed to keep educating. So we opened a small center in Saussure, and we started I was doing dyslexia therapy out of my husband's conference room, and it just kind of expanded, and then we were able to find other service providers that wanted to just join in and work with the kids as well. We started doing assessments, we do speech therapy, we started an early intervention program, and we just kept getting calls, and we ran out of room in Saussure. So we just decided, what can we do to try to expand and to try to get more students the help that they need. So we found this place, and we ended up getting everything ready down here. There's a lot of different services that they need, and parents are driving all over the place on the coast to get it. And I've talked to so many parents over the last 3 years that are struggling with that. And then they have, you know, one child that's getting 3 different therapies. They're driving literally from like Diamond Head all the way to Ocean Springs to Gulfport, back to Diamond Head, and they're just all over the place. And they have siblings that are kind of just being drug around with them for all the therapies. So like, what can we do for these families to make this process not so tedious on them? So we wanted to find a way to put all of those therapies in one location, so the parents could come to one place and they would have everything that they would need in one location. So this is big enough, and we were able to put everything together, and we decided to make the sensory gym because it's kind of like the heart of a lot of what we do. We do therapies in the gym, but it's also a place for children with sensory disorders, or even just kids that
Hyper?
Yes,
Really?
ADHD. We see a lot of that, and there's just
Well, they have a lot to play on back
It
there.
is, yes, it is. There's a lot of stimulation in some of the other places on the coast, and it's just a different kind of stimulation here, and it's not so overwhelming with the lights and the noises and things like that. So this is a place where any kid can come and play, even a kid that has sensory issues. So we opened the gym, and we also provide the therapies for them as well. We have occupational therapy, speech therapy, physical therapy. We still do the dyslexia therapy here. We still do early intervention programs. We also opened a Montessori School because we wanted a place, an inclusive environment for our children to be able to come and get the early intervention. We had parents that they wanted to put their kids in preschool, but a lot of them honestly were being kicked out of preschools. So we were trying to figure out a way to let them have that preschool experience and still have the specialized instruction along with it. And Montessori is just a really great methodology to use for any child, but it does work well with children that have learning differences. So we open the Montessori School as part of this so that children could come here.
And what kind of things do they learn in that Montessori school? Or how do you work with them?
Montessori is kind of a self-guided type thing. The teachers are more facilitators. They try to get children to think for themselves, to do for themselves. Everything that's designed in that classroom is for the children to be self-sufficient. We want them to be able to hang up their jacket by themselves, to get water by themselves, to put their supplies up by themselves. Everything is teaching them how to be self-sufficient, and there's stations in there. And we can go and look in the school to show you how the stations are, and the teachers in there could probably explain it to you a little better. We do have a certified Montessori teacher and a certified Montessori assistant that's in the classroom, and actually Miss Mallory is going to get her certification as well. So it's just a specialized type of instruction, and it's actually very similar to some of the instructional methods that they use in special education classrooms. But again, it's for any kid, and it just encourages them to think and to grow. And my son's actually in there as well. I have a 3-year-old, and I was so excited about it. So he's in there, but I love the fact that he's there. He's learning on his level. He's learning at his pace, but he's also getting experience to be around those children that learn differently as well. So it's just all of them coming together. But while they're here, parents don't have to pick them up from preschool to take them to all these different therapies. They can get everything while they're here.
Okay.
So
Well, let's go back to one of your classes here.
Sure.
We're at Gulf Coast Education Solutions on Dido Road in Gulfport. Now, you talked about the different therapy rooms that you have. One of them being occupational therapy, and I would think that that'd be something you work with an adult who's getting back into the work field or whatever after a injury. How is it with children?
Children need to develop their motor skills, and occupational therapy addresses more of their fine motor skills. So they work on things similar to some things PT does as well, physical therapy. They work on balance, they work on handwriting, holding pencils the right way, being able to manipulate things with their hands. So some of these blocks, I know that she puts them on the floor, and they work on just making small steps up and keeping their balance. Even being able to just sit in a chair sometimes without wobbling over it, little things like that. This is a little balance beam that I've seen. They practice walking on it. They just, again, keeping their balance, using those motor skills. We've got some blocks over here. They interlace strings into blocks, and it's just being able to move their hands and manipulate their hands and use them to do those finer motor skills. And then that's one of the things that OT does here. Again, we have a physical therapist that works more on the broader gross motor skills. Again, a lot of balance. Posture, things like that, walking correctly. Some kids have an uneven gait, and they've done things where just helping them get their pacing and things when they're walking. We do speech therapy, which is a pretty broad range. We work on not just articulation, but also just language disorders and being able to communicate properly. So it's all of those. We try to strive for early intervention, and we think getting those services quickly is just the best bet for all of these kids. But we do have some older kids that maybe just didn't get enough services. Maybe some new problems have arose in their education that have been noticed, and they need something at a later date. So we do a pretty wide range of kids. We work with First Steps to do the early intervention for the 0 to 3 years old, and then we go all the way up to even 13, as old as 13 we've had come through.
Well, we got less than a minute left, so just real quick, how can a parent find out if their child qualifies for your program?
They can get an assessment done here. We do most of our evaluations here. Some of it they may have to go to their pediatrician can do evaluations. The First Steps actually does evaluations, and we do them for First Steps if you have a child 0 to 3 years old. But like I said, we do most of our assessments, and there's multiple places on the coast where you can get, and we accept evaluations from other locations. But usually if our therapist is going to work with them, we like to do the evaluation
Angel,
here.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you'd like some more information for your child, they are located here on Dido Road, west of Highway 49.
Right.
West of Highway 49. And they also have a location in Socia. Gulf Coast Education Solutions. Great for your child.